Are you bored of the generic, vanilla Minecraft Bedrock experience with standard, boring trees, no structures around, and absolutely no quality of life changes or gameplay experiences? Well, let's see if we can come up with a template using add-ons and texture packs and even a dynamic world to create the brand new Minecraft Bedrock fun experience. So for this experience experiment, we're going to be using different add-ons, texture packs, and a dynamic world. And those are as follows. We're going to be using the X3 Pixel Realism Dynamic World, but we're going to be turning off the texture pack. That's because I'm going to be using my favorite texture pack, Kingdoms. I'm also going to be using the Dark Mode texture pack as well. Then we're going to be using the More Simple Structures add-on, the Realistic Biomes add-on, the Dynamic Light add-on, and the Damage Indicators add-on. And in total, this entire set of add-ons, texture packs, and dynamic world will cost 5,620 mine tokens when it's not on sale. And it will be 322.6 megabytes in size. Now, obviously, there are add-ons here that I'm using for me. You don't have to use the Dark Mode add-on, for instance. You don't have to use Kingdoms. You'll use your favorite texture pack. You don't have to use Damage Indicators. You don't have to use Dynamic Light. There is a Dynamic Light setting in X3 Pixel Realism, and you may not want to use Realistic Biomes add-on either. For me, the only two that are the most important are the X3 Pixel Realism Dynamic World and the More Simple Structures add-on. So that will come in at 1,830 mine tokens. Then you add on the cost of whatever your favorite texture pack is, and that will be 215 megabytes plus however big your favorite texture pack is as well. So before we have a look at what kind of world this set of add-ons and texture packs and dynamic world has created, let me go into a few reasonings and explanations. So first of all, why have I used X3 Pixel Realism instead of Realism Craft? Now, everybody knows I really like Realism Craft, and X3 Pixel Realism is currently rated, I think, 2.7 or 2.8 on the Minecraft Marketplace. And I was very vocal in my review about how much I didn't like the realistic elements that were added. I didn't think it was enough, and I thought it was advertised to the wrong market and also had broken things like the crosshairs, for instance. But I did think there was a couple really nice elements. I liked the way the trees generated in a custom tree generation, and I really liked the wind effect that we'll get into in a bit. But the main reason why I've used X3 Pixel Realism over a pack like Realism Craft is because I wanted to try and keep as close to the vanilla block palette as possible. Now, Realism Craft introduces a ton of quality of life, realistic style blocks to the world, whether it be fallen logs, mossy logs, things like that. And they do not work well in terms of immersion when you add your own texture pack. You have to find a texture pack that's very similar to the Realism Craft textures and hope that they combine up really well. I knew I was going to be using the Kingdoms texture pack. The immersion gets broken and it very much doesn't link in well together. So that's why I've chosen the X3 Pixel Realism. You can change the dynamic world that you're using. Just bear in mind that if you're using your own texture pack, there will be clashes, there will be elements that do not work well together, and that can break immersion. Now, why have I used my own Dynamic Light add-on? Well, in all honesty, I wanted to use my own Dynamic Light and my own Tree Capitator add-on because the settings that you get given and the way that they work are a lot better in the 100% add-on than they are as a setting in this world. Unfortunately, Tree Capitator doesn't work because the way the trees are generated are not logs, they're the wood blocks, so Tree Capitator wouldn't work. But Dynamic Light really does introduce Dynamic Light features that you just don't find as a setting in this X3 Pixel Realism, so I prefer my own standalone add-on. You might not want to, you might be happy with X3 Pixel Realism, and that will reduce the cost and the storage size, so just bear that in mind. Lastly, why have I used the Realistic Biomes add-on instead of any other Realism add-on? Well, the answer is because I like the biome labels, and I'll show you here. The biome labels that appear on screen when you go into different biomes, they're just very helpful, and I think they're awesome, and they really do help me in my gameplay. So that's the main reason why I've chosen that. And again, if you're not interested in that, that's a way to cut the cost. That's a way to reduce down the storage size. And then lastly, damage indicators is again just something I like and enhances my gameplay that you may not be interested in. So just because it's a super expensive set of packs, do not feel like you have to use all of them. So let's get into this. So when you start a new world with this set of add-ons, texture packs and dynamic world, you're given no less than 6 books and setting items. A lot of people don't like that, so let me tell you straight away, 3 of them can be completely ignored. Dynamic lights guide, see you later. More simple structures, see you later. And realistic biomes handbook, see you later. They're just information. You can read them. I don't need to. Next up then, that leaves us with the X3 settings, the realistic biome settings, and the damage indicators guidebook. So let me show you what I've got set up. In terms of the X3 settings, I haven't touched anything on sounds. In terms of VFX, I've kept everything turned on. More on that in a moment when we get to the realistic biome settings. In terms of render, I've set it to 12. Just to push it to its limits. And then in terms of gameplay, I had turned off Tree Capitator, but I'm going to have that turned on. I've turned off dynamic light and I've kept wind effect on. If you're not aware of what wind effect is, the X3 Pixel Realism Dynamic World has a setting where if you run into wind, you are given slowness. If you run away from wind, you are sped up. I think that's a super cool feature. I really like it. So we're going to keep that turned on. Another super cool feature the X3 Pixel Realism Dynamic World introduces is the ability to extend daytime and nighttime. So if you want to have up to 3 hours of real time in daytime, you can change the settings so that the minutes go all the way up to 180, extending your daytime experience. Or you could do it the other way around with nighttime, or you could do it with both. For this video, I'm going to have them both set to 10, but I think this is a super cool setting that can be really, really fun to play with. Next up, we have the realistic biome settings. And in here, it's very simple. I've gone to general. I've turned on biome titles and set it to the action bar, and I've saved it. I've then gone into sky and I've turned on fancy cloud rendering, and I've changed the sun and moon texture to HD. And then I've gone into effects, changed fog rendering to render distance, and I've turned off every setting here because I want X3 Pixel Realism to be my quality of life. I want it to be what gives me fireflies, mist, fog, all of that stuff. I don't want that done by realistic biomes in this instance. And that's all I've done there. So the main reason for realistic biomes is the biomes title. Lastly, damage indicators. I like this because it tells me how much health every mob has, and it tells me how much damage I'm doing. All I've done here is I've changed the style to pop, and I've changed the health bar to numeric and none, and I've switched it so it's always showing, not only when a mob is damaged, and submit. And I can show you straight away down here. We'll find a mob nice and quickly, hopefully. There's one over here. We can show you on here, this is how it looks. They get a numeric health bar, 10 for 10, and when I hit them, the damage I do pops up, as you see there, and fades away, which I think is super cool, but not necessary for everybody. So that is how I've got the world set. Let me turn on the game audio really quickly, and let's just have a look around. So I really like the Kingdoms texture pack, and I really like the way the trees are generated in X3 Pixel Realism using the Kingdoms textures. No more do we have 3 block high boring trees. Every tree is massive. Every tree looks more naturally generated, and we're using the Kingdoms texture pack, which is just my favorite texture pack in general. And this right here is the block I was talking about. So the bush block. This one is a small yellow bush block, and I don't feel like that clashes too tough with the Kingdoms texture pack. All I have to worry about are the bush blocks. I don't think they're too bad, and I don't think it breaks any immersion. I'm not running around with a different birch log at the bottom of my tree. I'm not running around with different other elements that you would get in packs like Realism Craft. So that immersion carries on, and I'm very happy with it. And that's kind of where we go with this so far. So as we fly around, one thing we'll be looking at is the world generation. Now, normal Minecraft world generation, it's very boring, isn't it? Like, it's very samey. It's very just what you would get normally. I'm so tired of it. But if we can find a world generation area, we can see what X3 Pixel Realism has really done to it. And we can see straight away on here, for instance, the way the trees are generating are different. I'm not sure why these don't have leaves. I don't know if this is a more simple structures tree. I don't know if these are supposed to be fallen trees, but just the way the trees hang down is a different style straight away. Obviously, I believe Realistic Biomes is adding in the foggy colors that we've got on here, which can probably be changed in the settings, but I like them as well, adding that background bit of color. We've then got the more simple structures add-on, bringing in bits of the world to make the world feel more lived in as well. And then I really like that fog effect that we get here too, and it just enhances Minecraft. Nothing here, other than the structures appearing, nothing here is particularly unvanilla. Like, okay, we're not using logs, we're using wood blocks, but it's not changing gameplay elements. You're still going to go in and you're still going to break the tree down to get what you want. And some of them are logs, apparently, so that's good. But you're still going to break the tree and use that to turn it into the wood that you would need. But you're just going to get structures. Instead of just a witch's structure over there, you also have what's left of a castle ruins. We've got these weird trees that are spawning in here as part of the swamp, which I'm not really sure what they're all about, but they're spawning enough for me to not think they're a mistake. So that's quite nice. And as we keep going through, again, more structures just popping in, like over here with the cemetery. Why would you have a cemetery in a swamp? I don't know, but it's something else to just look at. And I think it just enhances the world really well. Are there other packs that do this? Oh yes, 100%. Are there better packs that do this? Possibly, but I think this works really well and just takes you away from that base vanilla Minecraft that we all play every day and sometimes just gets a little bit boring. Whereas this just immediately feels lived in. It feels like there are people around. It feels like the world is not just completely blank. Like, look at the trees and how the trees are spawning in. Just makes it feel a little bit stronger. And I know some people aren't going to like it, and I know some people are going to have a better set. So do get down in the comments and let me know what you're thinking in terms of how this works. Is there a better structure add-on that could work? Is there a better texture pack than Kingdoms? I can stop you there. There isn't a better texture pack than Kingdoms. Kingdoms is the best texture pack ever made. Fight me. But yeah, I mean, I think this is cool. Let me know what you guys are thinking. How would you live in this kind of a world? Is there anything you don't like about the vanilla experience? But speaking of vanilla experience, one thing that we're going to have to delve away, and one reason why I've included the dynamic lights add-on, is because I want to see how not only do the generic torch and generic lantern work, we also get different color torches and different color lanterns. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the world into nighttime, like so, as the sun disappears, and we're going to see how does this dynamic light work with the torch in my hand. So I'm going to drop down to my feet, turn the torch off, and you can see immediately just the standard torch, the generic torch, is giving us that dynamic light effect. And also we should, if I'm not mistaken, be able to put it into our offhand. No, well, how do you do this? There is a way. There is a way to do this. If we go into survival, get rid of the lantern. Oh yes, you craft a decorative torch from a standard torch, and then this can go into your offhand, freeing up your other hand. I had forgotten about that. But yeah, the standard generic torch gives you dynamic light, but if you want to be able to have it in your offhand, you have to build the decorative torch, which is just a single torch changed to a decorative torch, and you get dynamic light in your offhand, freeing you up to fight or even hold a different torch at the same time. Let me go back into creative so we don't die. Thank you very much. And then what I want to do is we'll take this off my offhand and we'll just see how does it interact. So with the black torch, again, we've got that dynamic light following us around, and because it's a darker torch, I'm assuming it's not as strong as the decorative torch was. Let's see. So decorative torch really pounces it out because it's a full-on torch. The black torch, being a darker torch, gives us less light but still gives us light. These are all added by the dynamic light add-on. If we go over to lantern, the generic vanilla lantern here, we don't get any custom animations, unfortunately, but there we go, just running around like that. And then the red lantern as well also gives us that dynamic light of the same effect. And touching on this one, with the dynamic light lantern, we do get the custom animation holding the lantern. The generic lantern that you get in vanilla Minecraft does not have it. And that leads me on perfectly to actions and stuff. Why would I not use actions and stuff in an enhanced world experience? Now, actions and stuff is absolutely amazing. The animations in actions and stuff are awesome. But as we're slowly finding out with our actions and stuff compatibility list on the blog site, that's dasmanblogs.blogspot.com, link down in the description, I hope, we have an actions and stuff compatibility list where we're checking which texture packs work with actions and stuff. Nothing works with it, unfortunately, and that's, yeah, okay, that's hyperbole. Very little texture packs actually work with actions and stuff because of the clashing of animations and the clashing of models. I know it's not going to work with kingdoms, so I'm not using actions and stuff. But if you was to use actions and stuff, I would not hold it against you. It would be a very good enhancement to add to the world. But we were talking about dynamic light. Dynamic light, using the dynamic light add-on is very good and introduces different blocks into the world, and I don't feel like it breaks too much immersion having these extra ones. Okay, they're slightly different, but it's still minimal, and you'd have to go out of your way to use it. You don't have to craft a colored lantern, you can just use a standard one. You're not going to find colored lanterns or colored torches around the world, so I can put up with that in all fairness. And then lastly, the other thing that I want to talk about here that is a little bit not vanilla is the damage indicators. Now, I spoke about them slightly at the start, but this seems like a good time. So if we were going to go and attack something here, we can see the creeper has 20 health points. If I hit it with a sword, we can see, I think, that I did 9 damage, and now he's on 2 because I hit him twice, and then he pops away. So that would be why I'm using the damage indicators, so I don't need to guess how much damage the mobs have. The Enderman is on 40, I hit him, he moves really fast, so I don't actually get to see how much damage I did, but we know that we're taking off damage because he's now on 21 and there's 9 more damage. One other add-on that I would have liked to have used was the death animations add-on, but unfortunately the same thing that happens with actions and stuff happens with the death animations add-on. The custom mob models don't work, and while I could get away with mob models looking broken on death as a way to show you've defeated the mob, it didn't seem great. But those are some other additions that you could use in this set. But I want to get over here to these kind of rolling hills, and this would be where we see a lot more of that standard easy generation just popping through. We should see a lot of retaining walls at some point, hopefully. Yeah, look, we've got like little ruins building up along here, which just do little bits just to make the world feel that different. I get bored of it being same old, same old. We've got a house in here, little village-esque builds, which I think is so nice. Got the cliffside just rolling up onto there where there's more forests. We could have even used realistic landscapes, to be fair. If you wanted massive mountain peaks, that would have worked too. But the main element for me here is we haven't had any immersion breaking. I'm not looking at blocks and going, oh, is that kingdoms? Is that realism craft? Is that X3 pixel realism? It just all blends in really well. None of the textures are broken. And you just get little generations that just make the world feel that bit more lived in and makes the village stick out a little bit more too. And anybody who's seen my channel knows how much I really like the mobs in kingdoms as well. They're just so massive, so big, chunky, and bulky. So hopefully I've given you enough to just see the difference. Like, look over there, buildings, retaining walls with the stone added in. I just think, yeah, I think it's cool. Let's go and see what the Nether looks like. Obviously, this could be a nothing video. There's a reason why I'm putting this on Reacts. It's something I wanted to show off, but not necessarily sure if anybody wants to see it. So hopefully we will have people that want to see it. Unfortunately, because we are using Kingdoms, that's a lie. Unfortunately, none of these packs, Kingdoms or X3 Pixel Realism or Dark Mode, are compatible with vibrant visuals currently. But in the Nether is where Realistic Biomes really steps in a little bit more with that lighting effect, with that glow up. We get the different style mobs as well, which I just think is awesome. And then the different style blocks, and you just get that feeling of heat in the Nether, which is so strong. If we were using Realism Craft, we would have had bubbled lava, maybe a lot more than just these little bits of bubbles that are popping up, but we don't. We've got those super cool ghasts over there as well. But yeah, vibrant visuals not currently working at the moment with any of the texture packs that we're using here, and it doesn't work with X3 Pixel Realism either. Look at that feeling behind me, that's so cool. Yeah, even if you turn off the X3 Pixels Realism texture pack, Vibrant Visuals doesn't work with it. I tried, which is unfortunate, but just goes to show that there are ways to build it up. But look at that. That's so nice. I really like it. I mean, obviously I like it. I'm showing you the video, right? Let me know what you guys think, and is there a better combination that you can think of that will change realistic elements, quality of life elements, world generation elements, and the like? And what's your go-to texture pack? Let me know that as well, as we're going to go into the end. We're just going to have a look at this too. Let's get up here. Realistic Biomes coming in clutch with that purple end. We've got the structures that spawn here. Look at this. I didn't even realize we get end structures. That's nice. Just little bits like that, man, just breaks up that flat, boring area. And it makes me want to immediately go 1,000 or 10,000 blocks. So let's go 10,000, 100, 10,000. Just see how the end looks in general as we fly over. Does more simple structures do anything in the end? The end is crying out for an update. The best Enderman in existence, by the way, right here, just saying. And by the way, this is not an ad, and this is not like an apology or a make-do. I don't like X3 Pixel Realism on its own. I stand by that. But there are elements that are very much good. And yeah, there are other texture packs available. Just because I love Kingdoms does not mean that this is an advert. I want loads of people to use Kingdoms. I want everybody to fall in love with Kingdoms. And Dark Mode as well. Dark Mode is very good. And Realistic Biomes. I love all of these add-ons and texture packs that I'm using, but others are available. This is not an ad. Anyway, that's the world that I've kind of generated. Hopefully you saw enough of a world generation there to be interested in either using the X3 Pixels Realism, or the more simple structures, or the Kingdoms, or the Realistic Biomes. There are tons of possibilities available in the Minecraft Marketplace. Definitely check them out, but do your own research, because there's a lot of tosh as well, so just be very careful. If you enjoyed this, please do leave a like. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know if you've got a special pack or set of packs that you like to use. And if you're new to the channel, please do hit the subscribe button. Thank you very much for the support on the Dazman Reacts channel. I'd greatly appreciate it if you continue to support. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next one. Peace!